Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Game of Thrones Winter's Coming. Today we're going to take a look at the new update that arrived on the 19th of August. This update basically gave us a bunch of stuff that could be interesting. First of all, the Awakening is available for Arslan and Hector after the maintenance, which is true. And then the Commander Peter Baelish will be available for Awakening shortly after. Please note Hector will require his unique Awakening token for his Awakening, which is something that a lot of people kind of disliked. They had hoped they could save them up for elite tokens or stuff like that instead. Some hoped even for epic tokens, but I guess the Hector unique tokens is a big oof, but people will have to navigate it. I would assume that his commander medals can be re-rolled or changed into the commander tokens for Hector at least, so that's something to keep in mind. But basically 3 commander awakenings is inside the game. Improvements that has been added description button in the top left corner of the commander screen. Commander's position in battle, awakening rules, recommended combo setup will be included. Improved text display in some of the screens in Glorious Battle. Improve some other game experiences and GUI. Bug fixes, fix display issue of fully level commander gaining experience in Weaver 3. Fix display issue of some announcement messages in Glorious Battle chat, and fix some other minor bugs. And just basically bug fixes doesn't really have a huge impact on the game in any way, form, shape. Just quality of life stuff, I guess. It's not something I have noticed that really hindered my gaming experience, so call them minor bugs, I suppose, like they do. This entire thing with Glorious Battle, some screens in Glorious Battle, improve some other game experience and so on. Not something I really will look into either. We'll take a look at the description thingy. It's kind of wonky, but it's stabilized enough to the point where I can take it into the video and you can take a look at it at least. So let's jump into the game and take a look at stuff. Let's firstly take a look at the first commander, I suppose, Arslan, the free-to-play commander, and his Awakening. His Awakening buffs are Spearman Defense, Spearman Health, and Spearman Attack, and then there's also Food Production. Overall, really great for Spearman setup. All that kind of works as intended, I suppose. You can see here, when leveling up, basically max level increases, cooldown decrease on skills, cooldown or skill damage increased, quality evolution for friendship, which is the tavern buff, and then enhanced specialization is the one for his normal one. And yeah, so that kind of like follows the standard formula. And then his Awakening skill is pain inhibition. In battle, every 8 seconds, Commander Arslan heals 2% of the wounded for the ally. That can be an interesting skill, paired up with certain other commanders. I believe Jamie has a Commander's Awakening skill as well, where that triggers whenever you heal troops and something like that in the battlefield. So there's some synergy there that you can use. Every 8 seconds is long, which basically means that he can heal roughly 10% total all in all. But that's based on the amount of wounded you have in the army at the point. Because I believe matches or battles are roughly 40 seconds long. They could be longer, don't quote me on it, but it's a limited effect. It's very expensive skill, but you can somehow combine it with Jamie's skill and that way kind of make it useful, I suppose. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. You can see here, this is the thing they added as well, improvements. Overall score 15, rating of overall ability growth for Warlord map battle and internal affairs building, specialization effect, awakening effects to others. This commander can be awakened by their own inclusive tokens or elite general tokens, which is great. Both my positioning, experiment bonus, and resource production, which is basically the categories he basically is getting placed under. He is a spearman commander, so obviously his spearman will also focus on that. And then down here you can basically see a lineup recommendation based on, not sure if it's based on the troops or the commanders that you have available, or if it's based on the overall general commander stuff. But I personally would say it is decent. It's a bit wonky, like I said, it can be a bit difficult to understand, but it's something to keep in mind for sure. But yeah, I can see if I can try and find Jamie fast. There. I believe it was Jamie's skill. You can see here, hear me roar. When highlight your lineups with the feeling, the lineup's normal attack changes to weakness attack for 4 seconds. Weakness attack, status attacks, weakness attack, status attacks the enemy lineup with the most troops lost and cannot miss. For every 1 weakness attack taken by target lineup, weakness damage taken plus 3%. So as you can see, it's something, if you can't chain it up with Jamie's skill, and generally there's some synergy. They both can work for spear as well, so be my guest if you want to try it out. I personally would say if you have the tokens one, you can go for it, try it out. Maybe throw in Annie, Drake and someone else, and then you have a decent spear lineup for that matter. But keep in mind that things are a bit wonky in that regard, so yeah. Let's take a look at the second commander now, which is Hector. In this particular case, you can see that his buffs are Spearman Defense, enemy Cav health reduction, and Spearman attack. And this also follows the same line that his specialization does, and personally I think this is a great addition to the Awakening lineups. Now Spear commanders are getting Awakened as well, so now we have kind of like somewhat an okayish mix between Spear, Inf and Cav, though Cavs are starting to lag a little bit. But I would assume that Meryl or Mango will be awakened soon as well, or Kevin for that matter, so that there are like 1 or 2 extra Cav commanders awakened as well, because that's kind of the last thing that we are missing right now. You can see here as well with the awakening stats, basic standard, max level increase upon awakening stars, cooldown reduction, increased skill damage as well, Tyrant buff, enhanced specialization. Keep in mind that I believe Hector is a 40% commander in terms of spear attack and defense, so you get a higher boost from enhanced specialization than you would from Arslan, but still he also costs these special tokens. And then the awakening skill, after the first time army active skill damage is taken by each allied lineups at the front, all immediate heal 15% of the troop lost due to the damage taken. At the same time, the lineup's attack increases by 15%. It's a pretty good one. Again, works together with Jamie as well. Personally, I would say can work well. 15% attack increase is pretty huge. It doesn't say how much or for how long, so I would assume it's for the rest of the battle. The immediate heal of 15% of the troops lost is also cool. It gives kind of like a tanky effect to begin with, and then you have to kind of eat the damage to actually get a damage boost yourself. So works similar to how Hector works in PvP, I would suppose. But overall, this is quite an interesting change to the meta, that they have added these healing skills are starting to come into fruition, and because of that there are other ways to play the game. Of course, this makes it a lot more complicated in terms of calculating how battles are won or lost, because healing skills are difficult to track in the battle reports. They are not it's not impossible, but it's a lot more difficult in terms of having to deal with front and back things and so on. But that's how it is, at least for now. So This is kind of opens up. Like for me right now, it looks like they are trying to gear Spear towards being these counter-attacking types with healing skills, while also getting weakness, extra damage, so on and so on top of that. So it's quite interesting. So let's take a look at the last Awakened Commander. The last commander to get an Awakening is Peter. Baelish. As you can see, I don't have him unlocked because I do not have a sizable enough of an income to actually afford the high tier commanders, let's say like that. But we can take a look at the Awakening anyways. He follows the standard system as the others as well. Only difference is that he will probably have total health, total attack and total death as the small buff circle. And of course the Awakening skill is an interesting one to say the least. The Awakening skill is called Malicious Speculation. The War Soul Awakening skill will be used against all enemy commanders when 8 weakness attacks have been initiated by allied lineups or 25 seconds after the battle begins. Can only use once per battle. Enemy commanders have an 80% chance to falling into disharmony for the entire battle. Disharmony, 50% of chance of attacking any lineup at the front of own troops when using active skill. This of course is something that's kind of debatable whether it's worth it or not, but generally the base stats alone from getting Awakened is a really big thing of course. But the Awakening skill itself is a gamble in terms of that it has a 80% chance of first of all proccing, then it has a furthermore a 50% chance of actually attacking and actually happening if you bypass the 80% chance of proccing. And the main reason for why this can be kind of sketchy is because this again is a bit unclear about how it affects the battle in the battle reports, and from the looks of it, it's only affecting active skill abilities from commanders. It does not proc the Awakening skills of commanders. So let's say you have Cersei, you won't end up getting smacked by her Awakening skill if she turns on your own troops or something like that. But because of the RNG part of it, it makes battles unpredictable and makes it also much more difficult if you're actually winning the battle or not, because it also depends on which commander will be actually end up in disharmony and which commander will actually end up attacking your own troops and which won't, and so on and so forth. So the idea behind it is really cool. I like the idea, but the RNG part of it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to accept. And for me, RNG in a game like this for me can be really difficult to handle, because the higher up you go in power, the more difficult RNG can be, because let's say the RNG goes in your favor one time and you barely win the battle, and then the RNG goes against you the second time and you get hard smacked, then you kind of get a wrong impression about how strong are you actually. Whereas skills or commanders do not use RNG can basically affect the battle in a different way without having to go hard in on them, at least. So, but this kind of covers Baelish's Awakening skill, and his upgrades, as I said, are the total health, attack and defense. So definitely usable for those kind of things, but Awakening skill is a bit iffy. It's for those that like to gamble, I suppose. Lastly, we can talk about the events and stuff that's coming up. Right now we have the Golden Cup of Wine that's still going on for probably around 2 weeks or so, close to 2 weeks left. We have the Baelish event going on. There's a wheel where you can basically try and get some tokens. I got 1 token from it, from my free trial, so worth keeping in mind. And of course you also get tokens for upgrading him as well. Can save you a lot of money if you do. If you want to do it now, it's a good time, because it saves you a lot of money having to actually being gifted these commander skills, not commander skills, medals. These 20 that you can get from it alone is basically, I believe it's 6 per pack, so that's like over 3k worth the value of black diamonds, I suppose. So other than that, if you actually intend to do it later on, then I would say save up for the Black Friday event. They had it last year at least. Hopefully they will have it this year as well. That way you can kind of get some good deals at the end of the year for it, I would suppose. And yeah, then there's also the wheel. The wheel is kind of sketchy in the sense that it's not guaranteed that you'll have something from it, but you can try if you like playing with your luck, I suppose. Lastly, we have the calendar. Reward Memories coming up, as you can see here. We have a Blitz mode for Reward Memories that was added in a previous update, so it'll be interesting to see if that's already usable now, or if it's going to be usable after this one time, after you basically clear once, maybe. Could be different, could make things much more easier and less time consuming for sure, so that's something to keep in mind. And then I believe it's on Tuesday we will get some stuff revealed about the new game mode that's going to slot in instead of Army of the Dead, so look forward to that as well. But yeah, if that does happen, then my schedule for next week is probably going to be one video for the experience about the glorious battle and balancing stuff and so on, what works and what doesn't work in it. And then if there's enough information, enough stuff to go by, I will try and make a video about the new game mode as well, assuming it's not going to break my computer or it's not just going to directly be released or something like that. But that's kind of what you can look forward to for next week, I guess. So yeah, like and comment if you want to, helps out the channel of course. Subscribe to the channel if you like the videos and the content that's coming up. And yeah, if you want to play the game, the link is down in the description below, so is the link for the music and the link for the Game of Thrones when that's coming Discord group. A lot of great people on there, really a fun time. There are also trolls if you're into that, so keep that in mind, but be nice. The mods are doing their best. If you get muted, I warned you, the mods are very strict on that part, so be nice. And yeah, good luck in this following week with the end to the events that is coming up. And if you're going for Champion City Siege, go for it. Have luck in there as well, or end of Glorious Battle, of course. But this is all for me from this time around. Take care, have fun, bye bye guys.